Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for another episode of the GuthrieAmerica podcast, where I sit down with fabulous people who do life in our community and who are from here. I'm your host, Heady Coleman. Today, I am sitting down with the one and only, the 2025, 2026 Citizen of the Year?
Something like that.
2026 Citizen of the Year, mastermind behind the scenes, doing all the hard work.
When you split it the year up like that, 2025, 2026, makes it sound like a sports season.
The school year?
Or, this season's award winner.
This season's award
the defensive
winner
player of the year
is the one and the holy Justin Fortney, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get in this conversation with Justin, would you please go ahead and like and subscribe to the podcast, YouTube, all the things for GuthrieAmerica. Deeply appreciate it. Thank you so much. Justin, how are you doing?
I'm good, Heady Coleman.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Just turned 50 this year?
I turned 50 this year, yeah. May 1st, I'm 50.
Oh, May 1st, you'll turn 50.
Yeah. So I'm talking about like the entire year this is 50 for me.
So it's not your birthday.
Correct.
You're not 50 yet.
No.
But May 1st,
Yep.
But you're already claiming it.
I am. The entire year is 50.
The entire year.
Yeah.
You should just change your birthday to January 1st.
For this year, yes.
Yeah.
I should have done that just for 1 year.
Just for 1 year.
For most of human history, people weren't living to 50. So
no.
I think we need to embrace that.
Yeah.
That we should pat ourselves on the back for making it this far. If we're still having our faculties about us.
All the things in place, we can still work. We can still ride bikes. We can still walk.
We can podcast on
Friday
afternoons.
We can podcast on a Friday afternoon, drink coffee, like old men.
Yes, exactly.
What are you looking forward to with 50? Like, is there anything going into your 50s? Like, do you have some things like this part of this next, what is it, a decade, 10 years?
Yeah.
50 to 60? Is there something you're thinking about, you're chewing on?
Yeah, for sure. The only things that I have really concrete so far, I've never been a runner, but I started that about a year ago.
Yeah.
But next week I'm going to try my first half marathon.
Oh.
So that'll be a first. So I want to try some things this year that are I've never done before.
Yeah.
So a half marathon, that's a new thing for next week, next Friday morning. Yeah.
What have you seen since becoming a runner health-wise? You look slimmer.
Yeah. I think it was, first of all, it was easier to fit it into, I've enjoyed riding a bicycle for a long time.
Yeah.
But just schedule-wise, it takes so much more time to fit that level of fitness into your life if it's on a bike.
Yeah.
But running, I was able to make that part of my routine, and it just didn't take up as much time. But oddly enough, it felt like it became part of my routine really fast. The first month, there was a lot of pain involved, and I really thought that I don't know if this is going to work.
Yeah.
After a few weeks, there were definitely times when I thought things are not feeling good. This isn't gonna work for me. But about a month in, that went away for the most part.
Yeah.
And but I felt really, really good.
I remember talking to you when you first started, and I tried to get back into running and kind of felt, but I remember you was like, stuff just hurt, and then all of a sudden it didn't hurt anymore.
Yeah.
Like you had to get to this place to where it just doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And you're getting up early doing it too.
Most of the time it's been, it feels like it works best first thing in the morning. And I've gotten to where since I've done it for maybe a year and a half now, when I have a day where I can't run in the morning and I have to do afternoon or evening, it feels really weird because first thing in the morning, whether you're walking, running, riding a bike, and there's nobody else out.
Yeah.
There's a few folks out in the morning. Every once in a while, I'll wave at you as you're going by. But when you're used to having like the morning, you kind of have it to yourself. When you go do the same thing at a different time of day, you're like, why are all these people in my world? Like this is my time.
Yeah. Like, oh, I need to wake up earlier because people are still alive. They're still in there. They just sleep.
Yeah, but there's fun little quirks about like doing stuff like that super early in the morning. You just notice certain things.
Yeah.
Like for a year and a half, I've seen the same. There's a handful of people that are either like go to work super early,
Yep.
and I see their car in front of their office, or I see somebody who I'm pretty sure like he's picking up his wife from like the night shift somewhere, and I see him I've seen them all the time, and I feel like I know these people, even though I don't.
Yeah.
I have no idea who this guy is who's picking up his wife.
Don't have a clue.
Yeah, but every single morning I kind of like nod my head.
Yeah.
He's kind of just scrolling through his phone, and he nods his head.
Yeah. No, that's so true. That when you get up there early, you just see things, and I think what it is so much noticeable because there's not that much more going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just you notice just the little movements and things like that because it's just so quiet, it's so still, and so you notice those things.
Yeah. Regardless of what you do like early in the morning, I think a big part of it is there's not as many interruptions.
Yeah.
Like you have that time and activity pretty much to yourself, as long as you don't like give into scrolling the Facebook.
Yeah.
As soon as your feet hit the floor, don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't even sleep
fast.
when that. Yeah, my phone stays on the other side of the room. Then when I get up, I try to have a routine of things that I just try to jump right into that keeps me from that. But yeah, no, for sure. So Harry Marathon, are you doing the memorial?
No, I'm gonna do. So next week is the Mid-South.
Oh, it's March.
Yeah, it's about a month away for the memorial. But next week is the Mid-South up in Stillwater.
Oh.
And they do like bike races and a couple different running distances.
Okay, so no biking, you're going running.
Yeah.
All right. Mid-South is a big deal.
It is, yeah. Bobby and the Mid-South Empire up there is wild.
They are wild. He's wild. He's wild. Okay.
Yeah. But the 100-mile bike race is coming through Guthrie. So Saturday you'll see all kinds of folks riding through, coming into Guthrie, going down to Wentz, kind of where by the Pocket Park and shops. That'll be the midpoint Saturday.
And that's the Mid-South. That's part of the Mid-South.
Yeah.
And they don't come through Guthrie every year.
No.
They change it up periodically, right?
They typically, they'll do 2 straight years of the same routes, and then they'll switch it up. So it's been, they were going to do Guthrie last year, but everything got messed up with the wildfires. So they canceled the race. It's like, maybe it was like 6-7 years ago. The last time they came through Guthrie, maybe.
Oh, wow. Was it that long ago?
I think so.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed, but I know that the last time they came, I remember a time that they came through Guthrie, but
I'm 50 now, so my sense of time is all off. A year could be
you're
100
done.
years.
You're done. Don't even worry about it. I don't even.
These are biblical years now. Like 1 year is 1,000, or however that works. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, your son, what, 3rd year?
He's a sophomore, second
year. Second year, empty nester now.
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
It feels different all the time, just because when you're and this, like as soon as a kid graduates from high school, things are different, but then they become more different all the time. It's not like there's a new normal and it stays that way. Like every week is something different.
A little different.
Yeah, because they're figuring out how to be more, whatever, in life. Independent or less independent, or and it changes by the week.
1 week they want to be independent, the next week they're like, no, I need you. I don't want to be independent anymore.
They're just figuring how to manage life as a very young adult.
Yeah. And I think it's so much different than when we were young adults. In a sense of like, I feel like there's not as much of a rush to go do your thing. Like, just kind of chill for a little bit while preparing yourself to do the thing. Yeah. Where it's like, when I feel like I was just like 18, like, oh, I'm out of here. I don't want to talk to nobody.
Right.
I'm moving on. But even for me as a parent, I'm like, no, chill, hang out. Like, it's going to come. Don't worry about it. It's
Right.
coming.
Oh,
Be
yeah.
ready for it, though.
Yeah. Well, I think the idea that a child when they turn 8, when they become an adult, they instantly like develop this separate life of like you know uh, this unique line in the sand kind of thing from their parents. That's a modern thing.
Yeah.
Like for the rest of human history, like generations within a family were bound, like kids, parents, grandparents, great grandparents. They a lot for most of human history they lived together.
Yeah.
There wasn't the kind of thing where like you turn 18 and you move off and you send a Christmas card
Yeah.
for the rest of your life. That's a
Yeah.
weird modern thing. I don't know how that happened, but I don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely different having adult children now.
Yeah.
And so and then you have to learn to be an adult parent, like a parent who has adult kids.
What do you mean?
Meaning like it's just different from like when they're in your house, caring for them, you giving them direction, you get the last say. Now it's like, oh, you're an adult, but I still want to serve you as a parent, but I don't get the last say.
Yeah, that direction thing that's a trip. How that's different now. Amanda and I were just talking about that this past week, saying how like we have to shift how we frame things from like it's not like you can say you're gonna do this.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, here are my thoughts on this. Like, here's how I see the world. Isn't that interesting? Wouldn't that be cool? Maybe you see it the same way. I don't. You have to be tricky about things. You have to be sneaky.
Or it's like, yeah, if you want me to help you, you can do it this way, but there's another way. No, but it's just different. Now, here's another trick. You'll get this too. Now we're at the age that we're also kind of not parenting our parents, but there's this stepping into their lives a little bit differently than just being their children.
No, you're absolutely right. Like having an older parent that you're spending a lot of time with towards like in their older years, like that's a pretty. First of all, it's a gift.
Yeah.
Like
it's an honor.
Yeah, absolutely. I get my mom cracks me up with her she'll feel bad about she doesn't want me to feel like I'm having to take all this time to drive her to an appointment or something. Like it's an appointment. I get to drive you to the appointment.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a huge burden. And like you said, it's an honor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like after all the stuff that our parents have done, for the most part, like most of us would say, I don't know if I should say most of us, but for some of us, like as much as our parents have done for us, like, oh yeah, I'll do this for you. Like, let me step in, and also I want my kids to see me doing this for you. There's a little selfishness.
Are you watching what I'm doing right now?
Because I may need you. Because parents, like not all parents age the same. Right. So like I'm less involved with my dad and my stepmom, my other mom, than I am with my mom.
Sure.
And so, but it all can come to a place to where, like, I'm trying to keep them all from not my mother in love, my mom, my dad, and my other bonus mom. Like, you all can't start going into the direction of needing us.
Absolutely.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. But I'm excited about them being able to age well and all the things. So, how's Amanda? What is she up to now with music and all the things? She always has cool projects.
She does. She's still working full time at Francis Tuttle in the city, but she just her and some other a handful of other musicians are in the kind of planning phase of a really cool kind of a classical music kind of project that they're going to start working on. they're being kind of secretive with it.
Oh, okay.
But you can follow Amanda's like socials, and she
Okay.
can keep you up to
She's
speed on that.
dropping things
Yeah,
periodically.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the most excited I've seen her about something like musical in quite a
Oh.
while. So yeah, she's pretty into it. So.
Do you ever still think about music for yourself?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
like I think, yeah, at some point, whenever it just kind of feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Do you think you'll end up being what's my cowboy's name that does boat? You know, like he's
Jim.
Jim.
Yeah.
You like you'll take Jim's spot at some point. Like he'll come back and be that kind of.
Like Jim's amazing.
Yeah.
And that he's in a whole other universe
Yeah.
than me,
Yeah.
especially with his like
talent wise.
Yeah,
yes.
and just like he's got a great mind.
Yeah.
I don't have a memory and a mind for music. Like to me,
I'm glad you. Yes.
oh, I at most, at my best, I can probably have maybe like 8 or 9 songs like locked down in my brain.
Yeah.
And that's pushing it. Like there's nothing else happening in my brain at that point.
Wait, how did you just say that? Because I need to remember that. Because I need to talk to when I'm talking to people about the Bible. I'm like, my mind and memory. How did you say?
I don't know, but I've got a definitely like it maxes out at a pretty low level. That tank is a small like fuel tank.
My head is big, but I got a small tank too, and I can't hold as much in it as people think that I can. But I love the way that you said it because I'm the same way regarding like the Bible and being able to just recall like some people can, or like terms and words and all these things. Like it's really hard for me to just anything. I just don't retain well.
Yeah, and I'm better at like large like concepts and things. Maybe like stories. I can remember like the arc of a story.
Yeah,
but the individual details.
Yeah.
Like every time I tell a story, it's a little bit different because like all that. So I'm kind of winging it sometimes in terms of the details of a story.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, but I can't. I can get there, but it's not going to be eloquent or full of details. Probably is the way to say that. But that's cool. No, I'm gonna have to follow Amanda. I think I already follow her, but just check in and see what she is up to. Man, should we talk about Red Brick Nights?
Sure.
Yeah, James isn't here, but let's talk about like 10 years transitioning into.
Talk about years feeling like 10 years feels like a year and 100 years all at the same time.
Yeah. No, and I think that we have come to this place where like we're gonna stop doing Red Brick Nights, and I don't think people feel like the 1 year is like 1,000 years.
Yeah,
like 10 years is 100 years.
Yeah,
in trying to put together the event with essentially a 3-man team.
Sure,
and you carried a lot of that weight for many of those ending years for sure, and it's something like, man, there's a little piece of me like I want to hang on,
sure,
but I'm like I don't know if I'm gonna be doing it a good service if I did. But the 10 years have been amazing.
They really have been. It's been the kind of thing where like, and we've talked about this a bunch of times, where especially when there's a community event like that, where after 10 years, a lot of like the kids in Guthrie kind of grew up with it.
Yeah,
and so kids who who might have like just gotten old enough to like walk over to the kids area and do the bouncy house.
Yeah.
Their parents might have been like, okay, you're old enough now to go to the bouncy house. Those same kids, they're adults.
Yeah.
Which is like it's pretty cool. And there's so many other events in Guthrie that have that same kind of like, whether it's 89ers or territorial Christmas, different things in town. To have something that became part of people's Guthrie story.
Yeah.
That was one of the coolest things about an event that has that kind of longevity.
And the reach beyond just Guthrie too.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go back to like talking about our sons.
Mm-hmm.
Our children were those children too that were young and then grew up with it. So when I'm talking to Zell last night, I think we brought up Red Brick Nights. He was like, "Yeah, we're no longer gonna do it or whatever." He's like, wait, what? He's like, you're not doing Red Brick Nights anymore? He's like, are you serious? I was like, no, we're not gonna do it. He's like, so what are we gonna do? And so, but that spoke to how that had become a part of his life. They're now they were walking down, hanging out. And I think the unique thing about Red Brick Nights, it was every month.
Right.
Where 89ers, Christmas, Territorial Christmas is just a portion of the year, but
it became part of like that regular routine.
Yeah, for the summer.
For everybody. Most people
Yeah.
in town had made that like kind of like their monthly, okay, we're going to get together and see friends and hang out for an entire evening.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was cool. I mean, I think about it just the beginning, and maybe you, James, and I can just jump on a podcast and just talk about it. But
that'd be fun.
So many stories. Yeah. Just so many stories came out of that.
And it's like, what's cool is, there were great events before that, and now it's going to transition to something else.
Yeah.
But it's fun to have something that occupies that space and time for a community.
Yeah.
And to kind of and to see how it became part of people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I was going to say, like, I'll go places to speak or whatever, and then say I'm from Guthrie and be like, oh, we came, and sometimes they don't know the name of it. It's like, man, I would come downtown once a month and go to this event. Some would know the name of it, but it was cool just to see, hear about people driving. And I think at the latter part of that, I feel like more people probably were driving in than even the locals.
Yeah, I think so.
Kind of spending time there. So just curiosity. Just talk to us about how you would pick bands early. Of course, you were the one doing that, and then kind of transitioned out. But just the band process, because we get so many people hitting us up.
Oh yeah,
about the music.
I think in the beginning, so all those years ago, first of all, we wanted to create a space that was welcoming to musicians, a place people wanted to play.
Yeah.
But also, we wanted, I don't know how best to say it, but we were careful about it.
Yeah.
In terms of, we wanted to present something that was not just high quality, but we wanted the musicians, those artists, and the people who were coming to that space to listen, to be able to establish relationships with each other.
Yeah.
So I wanted it to be the kind of thing where folks might hear someone playing at Red Brick Nights, and then over time, they seek them out at different places, and I think that happened a lot, where people might be introduced to someone at Red Brick Nights, then years later they've seen them in other places, they've kind of sought them out, and because I think musicians need that. They need to be able to establish those relationships with an audience, in order to move their art forward. And most people that have played Red Brick Nights aren't necessarily full-time musicians. They're playing music in addition to either a full-time job or many part-time jobs, and that's a really challenging, difficult way to consistently over time create and perform. And so I think establishing and nurturing those relationships with an audience is super important, just to keep them motivated and feeling like they're doing something important. And so that was a motivator from the beginning, to have a space like that. And then back then, Amanda and I were playing music a lot more. And so that allowed us just to meet people all the time, whether we were playing at a different festival or different gigs in the city. A lot of those artists, the first 3, 4, 5 years, were people that I had some trust in. I'd seen them perform a bunch of times. I knew them, and that added a comfort level to the people that were on the stage. Then over time, the folks who were interested in playing, that kept growing and growing, and so. But it was always a matter of knowing it was a good fit. And even at a certain point, Amanda came in, and 'cause it takes, people have no idea that it takes a lot of work, especially for five events every summer with multiple acts each evening. It's a lot of work to schedule and book all that and have the confidence and the quality of it, managing all that, the calendar of it, and then managing the shows themselves. At some point, Amanda came in and was helping with that and did a great job. And then the last couple of years, Joel Mostman has graciously been like wrangling a ton of that, most of that, and he did a fantastic job. And the three of us have always had that conversation about, not only do you want it to be a good fit for the audience, but you want it to be a good fit for the musician too. You want that experience, like, yes, there are times when it feels like, yeah, it'd be great to like push the envelope just a little bit to like broaden the experience of the audience. Maybe they're not super like, familiar with maybe like stylistically a certain type of music, but you have to do that carefully to where you're not like pushing it too much, where you're like, alienating both the audience and the artist. Because you don't want it to be a miserable experience for the artist too. Because like, there's nothing worse than like getting up there and like sharing like this, your soul in front of like a huge crowd of people, and the crowd's like, huh?
Yeah, we don't get it.
What? And so like making sure it's a beautiful experience for both sides of it is super important, I think.
Yeah, and that's always going to be ruled by the majority, like for the most part, a sense of like trying to select those right fits for the audience, so the musician and the audience can both be, walk away feeling like good about the night.
Yeah, and there's no way to get it like, I'm sure that like there were I know countless like bands or musicians that were interested in playing, and I was like, I don't know if this is a good fit or not.
Yeah.
And I probably messed that up. But you try your best, and like I'm positive I didn't do a perfect job of that. But you do the best you can. So.
You're doing the best you can, and like nobody's getting paid for this, like like and that didn't change for us the quality of the event we wanted to produce. But man, just the time that you can put into it because of all of our different roles in life and community and all the things, just really makes it that much more challenging. Versus if it was your full-time job, then maybe you could do a little bit better of research and things like that, because you would get so many requests from people to play. And so it's like, oh my goodness, I just see the messages coming through.
Right.
Like, we play music for, it's like, okay, So no, that is a very difficult thing. Like talking about the end of something, and maybe from your side of working in the city, tourism, things of that nature. Like, how do y'all go about attracting more types of things like Redbird Nights and events? Like, what does that look like? Because you get a lot of people talking about things they're doing Guthrie events and things like that. From you all, how involved are y'all in that, or do most people come to you all versus you trying to create?
Yeah, I don't think I've like as the tourism director for the city, which is I think I'm almost to 8 years now. But in that time, I don't think I've ever had to like, go out and recruit somebody to like, start an event, or there are so many people who have ideas for things and want to do things. I think our job as a tourism department, as a city, is to like be a resource for those folks. If you have something that you want to be able to do, like to the best of our ability, like helping them navigate what that looks like. And I think that's mostly our role is, there's no shortage of ideas or people who want to do cool things. It's just trying to help them figure out, and most of the time they know more than I do, but if there are ways of helping them, avoid certain pitfalls of stuff or navigating, whatever that might be, from like permitting to, sponsorships or whatever, yeah, just being more of like a technical assistance resource person or department. Um, that's how I see us.
Yeah.
Um,
Do, have you learned what, like, if there was a box, like, if you can get your event to be in this box, you're more likely to have success. What would you say would be the things inside that box to maybe give yourself a good chance of having a successful community event?
oh wow, that's a really good question. I think you can have a really great event, you can do something special, but if you want to do something that's good and has, staying power, if it has longevity, you've got to be able to build a team around that. Because it's no matter what you're trying to do, it's going to be a mountain of work, and your adrenaline only gets you so far,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh, we've got to do it again and again, and now, that's for an annual event or month,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
One-off events are different things,
Yeah.
but I think being able to uh, have people around you, um, is that you work well with, is super important, if you want to be able to do cool stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
Um, that's probably.
Yeah.
Am I right about that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah. Well, a team definitely has to be a part of it. Don't go solo.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
unless you're going to pay for people to come in, but
Yeah.
I think what we've seen, 89ers, Christmas territory,
Hmm.
like those have committees. They have teams of people who are working on that and the different aspects of it, that help bring that about every year. I think the other thing is, like, how do you get the story out there of the event to get people
Hmm.
to the event? Because without people, you can have a great event.
Hmm.
Nobody shows up though.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no way. And then a first year event from scratch, I think the hard part, I would say, because it is kind of not easy, but I mean, I can get the streets blocked off. I may can get a great band there. I may can get some food trucks there. But if the people don't show up,
Yeah.
then it's like it ain't. It was a great event. You know what I mean?
Uh,
It's well organized and everything, but you didn't have people. And so I think within that box, having
yeah.
a great team, all that, but the story, reaching
Yeah.
the people to get them there.
And um, there's an ability that, it's always fun to watch events that kind of grow into something.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's one thing to start an event smaller and learn and grow that event, and that sounds like it makes sense. But you have to be, if you are starting an event smaller, you have to do it in such a way that it still feels cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to like be, being smart and, not over, uh, you know overreaching on something is important, but you also have to be able to create within that smaller environment something that people really enjoy,
Yeah.
and that's hard
Yeah.
because you still want people to be able to feel like they're part of something cool,
Yeah.
even if it's not like a gigantic amount of people, and that's a tricky thing to be able to do.
Yeah.
Um,
I think having great partners too, like
yeah,
partnering with the city, partnering with the chamber. Like, if you can bring in some of these other entities to come alongside you,
mm,
I think that also helps, um, give yourself an opportunity to have a great event.
for sure.
With if you were to put different things within that box to say, hey, these are the things I would say do in order to make a great event. And then if
Mm,
you want to have it annual or monthly or whatever,
yeah.
I think. But Guthrie's had a lot of a lot of great events.
Oh yeah. Uh, that's uh, the longer the longer I live here, I feel like I learn more about like different things that people have done over, way before I was part of this
Yeah.
town. Uh, and especially with the older generation of folks who are, our elders now, or maybe who even passed on, you keep learning. Like, there's literally like not enough time to hear all of the stories
Right.
of like what they participated in, what they what they were involved in town, from like the 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever. And that's that's a really cool thing
Yeah.
to hear. Like there's times when you hear something about somebody like, they did what, uh, and it doesn't always fit with like the personality of that person too.
Yeah.
You're like, they were involved in what,
Yeah.
and that's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, that really, and it bums me out too. Like as people are getting older and they may pass away, whatever,
Hmm.
and I didn't get them on to the podcast to hear, like to
Uh,
have capture that,
yeah,
because there's not, I don't know of many other outlets to be able to hear the stories of the people uh, um, that I can go to and hear about the Sylvia Oaks. Like
yeah,
there's just some people around here. I was like, I need to get them on the podcast before.
yeah.
You know.
In I can't remember if you've talked about this before or not, but I really do believe that like people get, especially when it comes to telling their stories,
Yeah.
people get better at it the older that they get. They
Yes.
tell those, every time you tell a story, you get better at telling it.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're exaggerating it a little bit, even if you start remembering big, you're not lying, you're remembering big. And so as people get older and older,
Yeah.
they get better
Yeah.
at telling those stories.
Yeah.
Where like, it's almost like they're being perfected
Yeah.
into their elder years. And yeah,
I just sit here and I just listen to. I mean, I just
uh-huh.
think something like John Kellogg, Mr. Dreesen, like listen to some of these. I was like, and they just go, and I just, you just sit quiet and let them go with the story
Uh-huh.
because they have some cool stories. Some
Yeah.
really,
When my
some really
dad
nice
was
stuff.
like his last few years, like there'd be times when I would just like be sitting with him, and I would just ask him, uh, a question about like a certain time of his, or ask him like, tell me that one story again, and I would kind of like sneak my phone out and just hit the little
Yeah,
record button.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's for sure. Talking about community, recently Chamber had their award banquet, and they announced all these cool people and organizations and businesses. One of those is Citizen of the Year. You were presented with that. What was that like?
It was definitely a surprise. So I did not know that was happening.
Yeah.
It was funny because I at some point I had stood up to take my plate and to put it in the trash, and my mom texted me, and she said something like, how was the food? And I was like, oh, it was good. And she's like, are they still giving out the awards? I'm like, yeah. Uh, and that was all that she said. And somebody had told her.
Yeah.
So of course she knows everything. So she's like being kind of. I'm like, what is she? Why is she asking me all these questions? Because they weren't like regular questions that she would ask. But I didn't think anything of it. I went and sat back down, and I was still pretty oblivious until almost up to the point where Cody said my name, and I'm like, what?
Who presented for you?
Cody Lawson from Twin Cedars.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that is because they sit there and talk about this person, then
Uh-huh.
all of a sudden they say your name. You're like, oh wait,
Yeah, huh?
yeah. Like what? Why me?
Yeah.
There's some other people in here that I could point
Uh-huh.
out that, but no, but you definitely well deserving. Like,
Huh.
what were your thoughts after the end of the night? Like,
Um, I it was kind of like it was super embarrassing for sure. Uh, just because like it's one of those I don't know. You always feel like, uh, and it's absolutely true that there's 1,000 other people in town
yeah,
that like you hand them that award and it's absolutely deserving. So
yeah,
it's like a weird like you feel like you want to crawl under a rock a little
yeah,
bit, but also like it's pretty it's special.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't know, it just make I think that's it. It made me feel glad to be part of something.
mm,
And so, um, not to like go like way back in time, but like, we moved like this is the longest I've lived in one place like in my life.
Mm.
So we've been here for like, I don't know, 21 years. And so like when you grow up moving around a lot,
Yeah.
um, and you know, most of like young adulthood was still like moving a little bit. It felt like, I don't know, it felt like a stamp
Mm.
on, you know, being part of a place now.
Yeah.
Like and I felt like I was part of Guthrie and part of like my neighborhood and my community for a long time now. But it just kind of felt like it was like that extra little, you know,
There you go.
yeah,
Yeah.
not in the sense of like it being an award, but almost just like, you know, it just like pulls you in a little tighter.
Yeah.
Like, you feel like you belong a little more
Yeah.
to this group of people, because especially when you at that award thing, you have to get up, you have to go up in front of the whole room,
Yeah.
and then you turn around and you're looking at everybody, and they make you talk.
Oh, did you have to give a speech?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I
Wow.
don't even know. I have no clue what words came out of my mouth. Like Amanda started like watching. Because like she knew ahead of time. She was super sneaky about it, and so she's like video like with her phone, like me getting it and giving a little talk. And at home that night, she started playing the recording. I'm like, nope, no, you gotta turn that off. I cannot listen to me talking right now. So I still have.
You still haven't listened to it?
No, I have no idea what words I said, because I had no clue how to do that. And
oh
then,
man, like who do you think?
Yeah.
Let me think myself. You think you're think myself? Like, what am I thinking?
And part of it too, like earlier in the evening, Terry from Job Corps won. He was Volunteer of the Year.
Yeah.
And he just like nailed it in terms of like when he got up there, he said some really just cool stuff.
Yeah.
Mainly about the Job Corps kids.
Yeah.
And how many, like, you know, he's like, the first thing he said, how many people here have, you know, been impacted by Job Corps kids and them being involved in your events, that kind of stuff. And I was like, man, even before I had any clues that I was getting away, I was like, man, he nailed that. Yeah. Good job, Terry. Then I get up there,
like, here's your chance.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't. What did? Yeah.
It's one of those ones where you probably just don't want to give a speech, because really it's like these people are acknowledging you almost as a solo, because it's Citizen of the Year. I mean, like Volunteer of the Year is the same, but it's just like Citizen of the Year just feels a little bit like Volunteer of the Year is like, yeah, I came alongside these people, and
right.
Citizen of the Year is like, I don't even know how they. What is? I mean, I guess I used to do this, but I can't even remember how they phrase it. Like when they send out, because somebody had to submit you.
Yeah.
So you get to vote on these people, but I can't remember what the blurb is. But
and they sent me a copy of like the speech that afterwards, like somebody, I think Cody or Brittany, somebody sent me like the speech that Cody did. It was lovely.
Yeah.
But, yeah. But it is like one of those, you look out there and literally like there's hundreds of people in the same room that like literally are like either have been Citizen of the Year or could easily be like, here's that award.
Yeah.
And that was like a really cool thing to just see like so many people in a room, and you're like, this is an entire room full of hundreds of people who are outrageously engaged in the place where they live and work. And so you're kind of standing there and you're like, oh, I'm supposed to talk? This is I'm just going to stand here and look at all these cool people.
Yeah. No, you're well deserving of it. And I mean, if you think about what a Citizen of the Year would mean, I mean, I think he's almost along the same lines as a Volunteer of the Year, somebody who's just giving back to their community day in and day out, and who love and champion our city is what I see, and I see that in you. And so, so it's really cool. Cool to have you be a part of the alumni, you know?
Yeah. Is there a club? We have meetings?
Yeah. Well, I can't tell you on air. I
have talked to Linda Miller a couple of times. She's a previous Citizen of the Year. So, and she's great.
Yeah, I think I've been doing it the last couple of years. I try to get every award, but it's like this year it's just so many of them.
Oh yeah,
and it's hard. But I try to get every year because I just think it's a cool conversation to have with people who are giving back and want to acknowledge them again. And I just love to hear the stories of, if there's some that can come out of it. But no, it's like, man, let me get Justin on and just acknowledge him and thank you for what you do for our city and make GuthrieAmerica what it is.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. What's coming up that the world needs to know about in GuthrieAmerica that you're aware of from the tourism side of things?
I mean, the bigger stuff is definitely depending on like when you post this, the Pollard has they open up tonight, so it runs through the end of March. The Odd Couple, they're at the Pollard Theater. It's a hilarious, classic Neil Simon show. A little bit of a twist because traditionally the main roles in the comedy are these two grumpy dudes, but it's two women in the show this time. So it's hilarious. That starts tonight and runs through the end of the month. But also the last 2 weekends of March are the Renaissance Festival down in the Flats. So if you're into knights and archery and jousting and everything that goes into Renaissance Fair Festival stuff, it's expanded to 2 weekends this year.
Wow.
So yeah, John.
But it's not during the week. It's just weekends.
Just weekends. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like Territorial for the Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they've he added. I think this is a pretty big deal. I can't remember if it's both weekends or one, but the Scottish Games, so it's like the Olympics, but for like people in kilts, like throwing logs around, and I don't know what else.
Yeah.
But I've heard that it's a pretty big deal.
That is cool.
So yeah.
How long have they been doing that now?
I think this is their 3rd year, maybe 4th.
Does Norman have something similar?
Yeah, Norman has a big Renaissance Fair Festival, and I think Muskogee has like a monster one that just lasts like all summer or all fall. They have their own like castle or some nonsense that.
Wow, they've went all out.
Yeah, it's a subculture that like it's fun to watch because there aren't casual Renaissance Festival folks who are like,
you're all in.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah,
which is cool to see how into it.
Yeah,
everybody is for that. And then 89ers is not too far after that. A couple weeks later, in April. And so
so the Renaissance is the first 2 weekends.
Renaissance is the last 2 weekends of March.
March.
89ers is like
the 3rd week.
18th is the parade this year. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and we hope for good weather.
Yes, we do.
Last year was
not
good.
Yeah, and like in addition to 89ers, this will be the 3rd year for an event called the Truck Gathering, which is like this gigantic car show that's for trucks, obviously. But it happens down in the Flats the same weekend as the 89ers parade. So it's going to be like, 1,000 old antique trucks.
Oh, wow.
And that world hanging out in the Flats.
Is this a traveling thing or does it happen here?
It just happens here. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They had done a couple of them, it's an annual event. And I think they were in Norman previously, and then a couple of years ago, it was just a better fit for them to the Flats there on the west side of town, just the perfect spot for that kind of thing. So
that's cool.
Yeah, the organizers are pretty excited. It's I saw that right before I came in, he had posted to their Facebook page that I can't remember which hotel is like their event hotel for the weekend, and it's booked. He was like, Guthrie's full. So if you still need a hotel room, you're gonna have to go to like Edmond or Perry that weekend.
Wow.
So that's solid.
Edmond or Perry, they just skip right over Stillwater. I guess you got to drive too far into Stillwater.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the hotels they're not right on the interstate
Yeah, they're not.
for
Yeah, for
Stillwater.
Stillwater.
No.
Yeah, which is interesting. But that's Stillwater. That stretch to get into Stillwater is
Oh,
it's a
51
journey.
feels like it takes an
Yeah.
hour to get from I-35
I-35
into
into
town.
Stillwater. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Especially if you're going to like eat dinner
yeah.
and you're hungry. That last bit, like I need Hideaway and I need it now. And it's still an hour away. It feels like.
I always go the back way because it just makes me feel like I'm getting into town quicker.
Oh yeah, up through Perkins.
Yes, I always go the back way, man. So, man, Justin, thanks for jumping on with me.
Thanks for having me.
Catching up a little bit.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So, man, any last thoughts? Any last shout outs or anything you want to give?
Oh, I'm available anytime you want to catch up.
Yeah.
We don't have to turn the cameras on.
That's right.
So it's always good to talk with you.
Yes. Yeah, last time I was like, man, since we don't have regular night catch up meetings at Katie's, we still got to keep that going. So
absolutely, anytime you want to like have a quote unquote meeting at Katie's, I will be there to have the pick four. And shout out to Katie's Breakfast. And they're building and they're getting ready. They've broken ground on like a new like addition to their restaurant.
Really?
Yeah.
What, to the east of it?
Just to the north, like behind.
Oh, behind.
Yeah, so they're gonna build like the new basically the new restaurant there, and as soon as it's open, then they'll tear down the front part.
Oh, man, I'm about to go look at the back part of that. I didn't realize there was that much space in the.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to have like a big patio in the front area. It's gonna be pretty sweet.
That's cool. Let's go, Katie.
We'll have to eat our pick fours on the patio.
On the patio, yes. Only during cool weather though. We don't want to be out there sweating with food.
No. I think those 3 days a year, where we're not freezing or sweating.
For sure. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hitting that play button for another episode of the GuthrieAmerica podcast. Again, we're on a mission to have every story told of the fabulous people who do life in our community and who are from here. The question I love to end with, ladies and gentlemen, is, will your story be next? Go in.